Welcome, outdoor community. I don't have my tripod and I don't have my microphone, so I just wanted to give you an update from a week ago on the bees and the questions and the stuff that I've got about feeding bees. Some people feed them, some people don't. I found out with what I do that the next 30 days, 45 days, the end of February in Missouri, this is just in Missouri. Wherever you're from, it may be different, but in Missouri, we've had some really crazy, unseasonably warm weather. It's 56 degrees right now. We had 70 degrees a few days ago. They're calling for a little bit of a warm up. Okay, this has got these bees going crazy. And there's nothing out there for them, nothing. So when they're this active, they're going through their stores. I actually weighed some of these hives today to see where they was at, and they've went through a lot of their stores. But some of them have like 35 pounds of honey left. These next 45 days is when you're going to lose your hives, because they're sustaining themselves, but Mother Nature tells them start time to make brood. They're trying to brood up for spring. So they have enough food to take care of themselves probably through March, but that's not the problem. The problem is they're going to start making their babies, and they have to feed their babies. So I feed mine an emergency feed. I put it on around Thanksgiving. I can't remember the date, but it was a week after Thanksgiving or something. Okay, I had 26, and I just come from my other bee yard, and I put a pollen patty on all those hives. They're 4%. They're not. I got 15% ones too. They're only 4%. So it's just more food, and it's got some pollen, and they need the pollen to start raising baby bees. If you're against feeding, don't feed. I'm just saying what works for me and how it works. And these next 30 to 45 days are the most crucial, because that's when most bees starve to death, because it's when they start raising babies. It takes more food to raise those babies than it does to sustain theirself. And I think that's why. And I said, if we start raising brood and they come out of their hive in March, and we have no dandelions or nothing to get nectar off of, they don't have enough to sustain the babies that they're trying to build. And I've said forever, if you put it on and they don't use it, okay, it's fine. But when you have this many warm days in February and November and October like it was, December was fairly warm. It got cold in January. They're flying and they're eating. And I'm going to walk over here. I'll turn you, and we're going to stick a pollen patty on here. This is a pollen patty. These, like I said, these are just 4% pollen patties. We're just going to lift this lid up, if I can, and we're going to lay it. We're going to lay it right next to these, right next to our sugar, and our you can see the bees right there. They're busy. They're active. They have ate on that on the fondant. They have ate twice as much of that fondant from like 6 days ago. So they're burning some stores. So we've got that put on. And then I'm going to show you another thing. Here's that poly hive. And you can see them, they're flying. That's right here next to those 5 hives on that stand. This is my feeder. I've already took the lid off, that we filled 5 or 6 days ago with the substitute pollen. And you can see they're using it. And the people that are against using a pollen sub or feeding, it's fine. That's your deal. You do how you do you. That's fine. But here's what bees do. They're going to find something. They're gonna go get. Got one landed right here on my hand. Must be sweet. But they're gonna go find something. And what I found that they usually find, what they usually go find is a bird feeder, a corn feeder for cows or hogs or whatever, something close. Guys, all they're gathering off that corn is dust. There's nothing beneficial in corn dust for them. They're gonna pack it and they're gonna bring it back because bees have got to have something to do. So I'm in an agriculture area. Everybody feeds cows and hogs and chickens and turkeys and the whole everything that birds. They're gonna have corn or something out, and of course you're gonna see it on a bird feeder or a trough or something. The bees are gonna go to it because the bees have got to have something to do. So my whole theory of why I put out a pollen sub in the winter, they don't need it during the spring and summer. I keep it out year round. They never touch it. The only times that they really ever hit it is late fall when things are starting to go dormant, and in the winter when we have a 60-degree day or a 50-degree day and the bees are out flying. That's the only time I've ever noticed my pollen feeder, I mean really just like that over there. I just filled that the other day. It's over half empty. That's like 6 days ago. If you don't want to feed pollen, you don't want to feed sugar, it's okay. You do you. I'm just giving you what works for me. And about the feeding, you can feed liquid feed at anything that when we have consistent above 50 degrees. Does it look like we have consistent above 50 degrees for the next week or two? Yes. You don't want to feed because we still got really cold nights and there's still a chance winter can come back and we can get 30s. The problem with feeding liquid feed versus feeding a sugar brick, a sugar board like I feed, the fondant, you can feed that. They're going to try to take that back and they're going to try, and they cannot get it dried down. When they can't get it dried down, what does that cause? It causes moisture in your hive. If you want to kill bees, moisture, cold weather does not kill bees. It's not the cold. Bees can cluster and they can live in negative 20-degree weather. I don't know for how long. I don't have negative 20-degree weather for very long. We had zeros a few weeks ago and below, but they can live through that. It's the moisture and cold that kills the bees. So if you feed liquid feed right now, they're going to take that back to their hive. They're going to store it, and then they're just creating a ton of moisture inside there. And when the moisture is in there, that's what kills your bees. Like I said, you can be against feeding, you can be for feeding, whatever. I'm trying to explain the way I do things. Don't make it right. I just know my best success is when I put emergency feed on my deal, on my hives. And I do it to every hive. The pollen, guys, they're going to go do something. So the sub pollen, why not give them something that's beneficial instead of corn dust? There is no benefit to corn dust at all. So I'm not trying to preach this is the right way. This is my way. I'm just trying to give some insights of how to not lose bees and how to, to make life easier. There's going to be people that says I never feed my bees and I never lose bees. Great. I feed my bees and I still lose bees. But I know my percentage of loss when I put emergency feed on is way less than it used to be before I put emergency feed on. Emergency feed, if they're eating my feed right now and they're leaving their honey, good, because then they got pure honey when they start raising those babies and they're feeding them actual honey versus sugar. So it's better for the bees. And maybe that's what they know, and that's why they're wiping out my sugar stuff so much when they've still got honey left, because they know they've got their bees left to take care of. So guys, just remember, if it's in the outdoors, you might catch it here. You all have a good day, and God bless.